Hi there. My name is Dan Moran. I'm the founder and president of Concierge Diamonds in Los Angeles, California. I work with clients all over the world, helping them find the perfect diamond and creating the perfect piece of jewelry to go with it. I've spent a lot of time over the years answering people's questions in person and online. It's something I really enjoy doing. I like educating people about this strange little world that is the diamond industry. And so I thought I would try to give some basic information about diamonds for those of you who are just starting your diamond journey. If you're shopping for a diamond ring, by far the most common, the most prevalent, the classic choice for a diamond ring will be a round, brilliant cut diamond. When you ask someone to close their eyes and think of a diamond, odds are they're going to think of a round, brilliant cut. In the United States, 70% of all engagement rings feature a round, brilliant cut diamond. And there's a reason for that. It is the absolute classic shape. It's traditional. It's also the most optically efficient of all diamond shapes. In other words, if you shine a certain amount of light into a diamond, round will return more of that light than any other shape. Unfortunately, it's also the most expensive shape. And there are two reasons for that. The first is because it's the best from an optical perspective. People command a premium for it because it returns the most light. But the second, more interesting kind of inside baseball reason why round is the most expensive is because it costs the most to make. When cutters are cutting from a rough diamond to a polished diamond, they lose more material making round than any other shape. So if you start with a 5-carat rough, you might be able to get a 3-carat in some other shape, but only a 2.5-carat in round. It just costs more to make it. So round is the classic. Round is the most efficient optically. Round is the most expensive. So if you're not going to get a round, what other options do you have? Broadly, one other category of diamonds is so-called brilliant cuts. In other words, shapes that aren't the round brilliant, but are still brilliant cut with facets going every which way, giving that rainbow disco ball kind of look. Now, those shapes will include ovals, radiants, cushions, princess cuts, and a number of others. They will all have different silhouettes, different outlines, and they have different facet patterns as well. But what they have in common is they all give that rainbow disco ball, pops of light every which way effect. Another category of brilliant cuts that's a little bit different that requires conversation is pear shapes and marquise. These are also brilliant cut stones that give you that color pop every which way. But unlike the other shapes we've talked about, they have a pointed end. In a pear shape, they have one point, and in a marquise, they have two, right, north and south. Now, those points get smaller facets as the facets get closer together to the points. You get all kinds of fiery pops at the end, which is great. But those points also are naturally vulnerable spots for chipping. So when you're setting a pear shape or marquise, you have to look out that it's set properly with a nice protective V-tip prong to protect that tip from chipping. Now, another category of stone we should talk about is so-called step cut stones. Those will include emerald cuts, Asscher cuts, and a few others. Now, unlike brilliant cuts, which have facets going every which way, in step cuts, all of the facets are cut parallel to each other. So instead of that disco ball effect, you get more of a hall of mirrors effect that tends to draw your eye into the middle of the stone. To me, these step cut stones give a very old world, old Hollywood kind of vibe. They're also very classic shapes, and people absolutely love them. They're fundamentally different than brilliant cuts because they're much more unforgiving of imperfections in the clarity. If you have a flaw in a step cut stone, even at a much higher clarity than a brilliant cut stone, it's easier for your eye to see that because those parallel step cut facets don't give the inclusion anywhere to hide. So you generally have to use a higher clarity stone in a step cut than you do in a brilliant cut. Just something to look out for when you're shopping. Now, a fourth category of stones that's worth talking about is the so-called antique cut stones, which will include old European cut, old mine cut, and a few others. These are stones that were either cut a long time ago before the advent of modern computer-assisted and laser-guided precision cutting, or have been cut recently, but cut to resemble those antique cuts. Typically, the antique cuts have larger, chunkier facets and fewer of them. In general, if you look at a GIA report for an antique cut stone, you don't get very good cut grades. You get a lot of goods, fares, and pours in the cut grade. you really can't judge them by modern GIA standards. They weren't cut with that goal in mind. So when you're looking at an antique cut stone, you don't look at cut grades. You look at how does the stone hit your eye? Do you like the appearance of those facets? Do you like those big pops of color and fire, or don't you? Antique stones are relatively rare in the market, especially true antique. But if you find them and you love them, by all means go for it. They're awesome. They're a great way to kind of break all the rules of diamonds and still get something really, really gorgeous. So, decide for yourself what shape you like. Fundamentally, it's a personal aesthetic choice. I hope you found that helpful as a breakdown. If you have any other questions on anything to do with the world of diamonds or jewelry, please feel free to ask. I'm happy to help any way that I can. My contact info is on this page. If you post questions, I'll try to get back to them as soon as I can. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.